I'm waiting for us. Seems like they're solid ones. Yeah. Being shot. Very big. What they said they want. Being like without the roots, but.
No, I have to be concerned.
Yeah, I just getting ready for this, so I had to choose. You are, I love the great kitchen. Bill? Any thoughts on what I can do if we're ready? That looks like a good here.
That's their problem.
All of them. They're only five. Okay. On three. So it's the.
Sorry to ask you, but you were
No, it's
more
it's all
tuned in and stuff than
I'm just doing it slowly. Have you've used this?
Yes, we use it every time.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, there are several of them, so let's try that one. Wasn't that one?
Okay,
Um,
and I think this,
those are interchangeable.
I think they are.
Try putting it here.
That's it.
But this is the same laptop that you've used before.
Yeah, yeah.
Where is
Here.
Bill, is that a USB C to USB?
Yeah, this is performing that duty.
This is.
We can try that if we need it.
Let's see if it's. We need.
C.
Turn on the video, we'll see what happens.
Where's the video? Recording.
Happy to.
Yeah,
Seriously.
and it's recording.
It's
So I think we're, thank you.
Lauren, you're gonna have to speed that. Work? Did it work?
Right there. That moment.
There.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is a special meeting of the Town of Northeast Board. Today is Tuesday, August 26th. It's somewhat after 4 p.m. Apologize for the delay. But I would like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lily, could you kindly conduct the roll call
Yes, Supervisor Cannon,
here?
Councilman Morrison,
Here.
Councilman Fidele,
Here.
Councilwoman Winkler,
Here.
Councilman Mayville.
Here.
Mr. Supervisor, can I turn the fan down on low so we can hear you?
If you know how to do that, you're welcome to. Welcome everybody to this special meeting of the town board. This meeting was originally called in order for the board to have a chance to receive our town attorney's review and advice on the proposed rezoning of the commercial districts of the town. And thank you, Warren, for being here and for what you've been able to do. There are two other items that we would like to bring up beforehand. Both of them were touched on at the last town board meeting. The first is a proposed contract with PCA, Professional Computer Associates. They gave us a lot of material for us to look at. And we are considering hiring them to do our IT work for the town. They would appear to be, and my research is that they're very good at what they do and very competent. They serve the town of Rhinebeck, the town of Red Hook, the town of Woodstock, the village of Rhinebeck, and others. And I have checked in with at least two of those elected officers, and they've said that their work is fine. They gave us a very large stack of documents, which are part of their contract. And Warren, I know you had a chance to at least glance at them. And I have had a chance to glance at them, and I had a conversation with Mr. Schmiederer today about this, and I said that 68 pages of exclusions and addendums and definitions and so on as part of the contract is something that raises our eyebrows, and we would like to know that this is a standard contract. There's nothing in here which we should be concerned about. And he, of course, said there's nothing in there to be concerned about. It's boilerplate. The part I think that I'm most interested in knowing is under what conditions could we sever our relationship if we had to. And that is something that maybe you could talk to their attorney tomorrow. I think that the work that I've done on this suggests that if there is something reasonable, I know it's a 3-year contract, but if there is some reasonable ability to exit from the relationship, if we find their work is not satisfactory or good cause to do that, I'd like to know that we can do that. If we get that assurance, my impression is that we are then prepared to move forward. And we could sign a contract on the 11th, which is our next town board meeting, or sooner. I think the board's indication at our last meeting was that, you know, there were still questions about this voluminous stack of appendices. But that if that proved to be satisfactory and the ability to exit was satisfactory, that we were prepared to move ahead. And I would like to move ahead. We're going to be needing IT help very, very soon. There are a lot of deadlines coming up for various providers. So I don't want to let this linger. Is that something that you could do tomorrow?
Hopefully, I'm pretty busy tomorrow, but I will get in touch with them. I did read the contract. There are provisions for terminating the contract. I have to go over those and all, if I don't have it with me.
Okay, but that particular aspect of the contract is the one that I find is really important for the town to have assurance about.
You know, question I had is in two contracts that I've seen before, one of them was for Rhinebeck, there was a much simpler contract. That they had utilized, I was wondering, apparently they hired some firm. To do this new version of the contract, which is in 6 parts. It's one of the most complicated contracts I've ever seen, for something of this nature. I was wondering if they could tell us that there are other one or two other municipalities that we may be able to get in touch with that have signed a similar new version of the contract, so we can see how that's worked out. I'm not an expert in IT, I can buy,
Neither are we.
So it's hard for me to review those aspects of the contract, which apply to the IT services, that are intermeshed with the legal language. I mean, I can call out the legal language that, if any, that concerns me. But it would be helpful, I know that we had contacted, Rhinebeck had some mixed reviews, I guess.
Rhinebeck and Red Hook, I spoke to both of them. They were both early clients of this company. And when they signed up, the company operated on a time and materials contract.
Right.
This is a flat fee contract, so it's their argument has been that if there are problems when the contract is on a time and materials basis, sometimes the clients won't report the problem thinking that they can solve it, and then they don't solve it, and it mushrooms into a much bigger problem. Whereas in a contract like this, the town is covered for whatever it takes to fix the problem. Anyway, I don't know if you had their attorneys contact info, or I can get it for
I have
you.
no idea.
I'm sure I can get it for you. But both of those two towns signed a very
Oh,
similar.
the attorneys for the town?
Both of those two town, no,
Oh.
the attorney for PCA
You
is,
see, I don't know.
I believe, somebody different.
Okay.
In any event, we'll get this information for you tomorrow. And if you could talk to them tomorrow or this week, I'd like to bring this to a close as soon as possible, because I do believe that their professional capabilities are very good. But I'd like that, I'd like to have that conversation with them about termination.
Yeah, I will look at that. I was a little concerned about the 3-year contract, and I wasn't sure whether that violates the term limit rules.
Okay, well,
So
we need
I
to,
want to
we need to,
besides that issue, but if we could terminate the contract if we're not satisfied. After a certain period of time, it's full protecting, but I don't think that's in there. There are terminations.
well, as you know, our contract with NDP is a multi-year contract, but it has. It has termination clauses in
On
it.
both sides.
On both sides. That's. Yeah. That's out there. Anyway, I'll get you that information. Speaking of NDP, I should just tell everybody that, we have just learned, I think on Friday, that NDP has entered into a sales agreement, with Empress. With the company that owns Empress. Empress is the ambulance company that serves basically the rest of the county. So they are very big in Dutchess County. They have indicated, in fact, part of our agreement, our legal agreement with NDP provides that if they were ever sold, that the company that would buy them would honor the contract. They have indicated that they will be honoring the contract that NDP has with the town of Northeast, the town of Xenia, the town of Dover. But obviously, this is a big deal. Empress is is a union shop and NDP is not, so there are differences in costs. But the terms of the contract lay out the fees for the town for the next 3 years and potentially for 5, so. In the short term, we should not be impacted by this change. But it is it's breaking news basically right now. And I will be getting something out in a town supervisor email very soon. The other item that we wanted to just take care of and talk about before we start with the zoning is the application for for rezoning to accommodate country inns and event venues, wedding venues. And where we left this at our last board meeting, you will recall that the owner, the applicant actually appeared before the town board and said that the rezoning that his attorneys had suggested he felt might be too wide-ranging and open, and that it as it was written might permit the building of hotels in numerous parcels of the town. And that was not his intent. His intent is to create a venue which is directly related to agriculture. And he told us, board, at that meeting, that he was going to ask his attorney to provide some amendment to what they had proposed, which would narrow the ability of, which would narrow the zoning to make sure that it was directly related to an agricultural project. And Warren, I know you got that from their attorney. I've distributed it to the board. It's just one paragraph, but it's very direct. It's very clear that that is what it does. You know, when we talked earlier, you said you felt that other than that, we have received input from the planning board. We've received input from Dutchess County. We've received input from our planner, Nan Stolzenberg. And that at this point, we should have enough information to either decide to move forward with this or not. And so, any comments that you'd like to make on the language that their attorney provided, which slightly refines what they had proposed?
Yeah, I didn't find it very enlightening, but I do think, and I think we talked about this, it should, Nan was the most critical of those three
Yes.
inputs that we had on this. The other were very minor. I think we should, if we have time before the next meeting, I guess we do.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
Weeks.
I think we should send that to Nan and see if that changes her version. Her opinion. I'd like to look at it more closely, in the next week before we meet, and I thought,
Okay.
we could discuss at the town board meeting on the 11th.
The 11th.
Make a decision as to whether we want to move forward with this or not. I don't think it's fair to the applicant to wait several months and then tell the applicant we're not moving forward with our rezoning. You can, at any time in the process, determine not to move forward. So if you just let developers take, they come in and make a building application. I don't think it's wise to hold all of that in abeyance. And the decision should be made from the onset, perhaps on the 11th, that we're not going to move forward with this, or that we will move forward. Doesn't mean that we decide to move forward with it, that you can't change your mind after the public hearings and we get input on it and move forward. That will always be discretion. But I really think we probably one way or another from the onset. How the board feels about.
I'm fine with sending that language to Nan and have her look at it and see whether it changes her memo at all. The board is okay with that. I propose that that's what we do.
And I'll look at it more closely also.
Okay.
Give you my own opinion, so.
Yeah, no, I think,
Make at least a preliminary decision on. The next week and a half, whatever.
okay, yeah, I think we have enough time to do that. Come back at the 11th with the hope that we are in a position at that point to decide to move forward with this or not. But I think you're right. I think the applicant deserves an answer.
That's right.
We have sought input and received it, and but I'd like, based on their modification of their proposal, to have the answer. But good. Yes.
The only thing, I'm all for that. I'm just a bit concerned that I would have come to a conclusion by the 11th because, you know, we spent 4 to 5 years working on the zoning for the Boulevard District in Irondale, and a lot of time and energy has been put into that, and that's, to me, my focus. And also, you know, we haven't started ag or residential, and, you know, A5A is the biggest part of our zoning. It's the yellow. And then also R3 is right behind it. So this affects everything for all this landmass. So that's my concern. I'd like to look at it in a more comprehensive manner to how that affects ag and residential. So that's just my opinion.
Okay. Let's begin by getting Nan's input, and if the board is in a position to make a decision to move forward, even understanding that it is not the final, you know, are not our final input on this. I do think the one thing that we've committed to the applicant is simply not to sit on it, delay it by not doing it.
Right.
Which is of course what sometimes
Sometimes that.
has been known that.
And I'm not sure how long the process is going to be to adopt the zoning amendments, but
Yeah,
I mean, the other option we have is to try to fold that into these amendments, so it's not standalone. That's another option.
let's start by getting Nan's comments back, and then we can see where we go, but
Sorry.
yeah. Okay. All right, now, we turn our attention to the rezoning of the commercial districts of town. And I would like to start by noting that the zoning review committee of the town spent a better part of 4 years. And numerous members of that committee are here. And I would like, just on behalf of the board, to again express our appreciation for the incredible amount of work that was done on that rezoning of the boulevard. I think something like 100 meetings. Something like 100 meetings with essentially the same 6 members all the way through is, you know, and that's pretty amazing. So it was a lot of work, and I think that work deserves a lot of respect. Having said that, you know, one of the things, and the board has had a chance to look at various pieces of this that were of interest, especially to us. But you know, we've been waiting for the opportunity for Warren to go through it and to give us his feedback, because, you know, this is something that I know you've done a lot of in your career and are known for, and this is in some ways possibly the most significant longest term significance of anything that the board will probably do in our current term. So, Warren.
Yeah, so what I did was between our last meeting And tonight, as I went through line by line of the zoning amendments um, you know, in summary, it's quite good. It's very complex. I'm not sure that, it might be in some respects too complex for a town this size, but it certainly is a good, are good amendments to our existing zoning, and I think they will work. But I picked up a number of really minor things, some of them are more important than others. So I can go through page by page with you, and then if you have any comments or something to add, that would be helpful to me. The first thing on the first page is the purpose clause. Are we now satisfied with this purpose clause?
This is the purpose clause for the whole, this is the one that we.
180.1.
Yes.
Beginning.
I believe,
I mentioned to you that I had somewhere I had found some analysis and some commentary on how important sometimes purpose clauses can be. And I just found it this morning. I didn't bring it with me, I didn't get it to the board. In the event that you want to review it between now and the next meeting, but it discusses situations and cases, and I mentioned this to you before, in which litigants over zoning issues have gone back to the purpose clause and cited the purpose clause for additional support for their positions. It's kind of enlightening, so I just wanted, I will get that to you, I'll send it to you. And if for some reason, anything in there changes your mind about this purpose clause, we can modify it accordingly and discuss it at the 11th meeting.
we did review this purpose clause. Nan Stolzenberg also reviewed it, and made some suggestions, and they're relatively small. But I think the board was comfortable with it at the moment. Let's see whether there's anything there that you have that causes us to rethink it, but I think.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I had a problem with it, I just wanted to provide you with what the official analysis of what I mentioned before. And there are a number of situations, I think I've argued in litigation, I've gone back to the purpose clause, so just want to take another look at it, just to make sure that we don't want to tweak this even further. It's a simple thing to do, so. Then, let's see, I'm just gonna go page by page. Page 5, we have building area, I couldn't find a definition of building area, there's no meaning, is that left out? It says the C area of buildings. Let's see.
Yes, there is on page 4,
Page, so maybe that's what
areas of.
Okay, so. Probably refers back to, okay, I'm okay with that. Oh, I got it. The Country Inn on page 9, we're gonna have to, I'm gonna take a further look at that provision and in light of what's being proposed. But the definition that's contained here is fine. So I'll let you know if this is something you might want to look at again. On the 11th, we'll be chewing into the Country Inn expansion.
Right.
Let's see, dwelling, affordable housing, that's okay. Did we need to check the statute for a family daycare home? That's on page 12. Do we need to take a look at the state regulations on that?
Are you really on page 12?
I'm on page 12, family daycare.
It may be 20 in your,
Oh, because the PDF is.
Oh,
different.
I'm sorry.
yeah, that
All
is,
right, so.
he's referring to the hard PDF.
So page 12.
Yeah.
I think you were
At the
just.
top.
Can we settle that? There was some issue about.
I know we discussed it and, reviewed it with, I think with Will and talked about that in terms of, my recollection is that we were satisfied with, the parking and the square footage and so on.
I think we just wanted to make sure that in the definition, it went back to New York state law versus just making up our.
That we're
own.
not inconsistent.
And so
Yeah.
he did put in this in the definition part, he refers to state New York regulations versus
Okay.
just describing what it should be on page 12.
Okay.
We simplified the definition.
Gotcha. At the bottom of that page, gas station or gas station with convenience store. I don't think we have a definition of convenience store. Unless I'm wrong.
I recollect that the ZRC discussed convenience stores. So I'm surprised if there's not a definition.
Yeah, I couldn't find it, but what I thought we would change on that is, it says a commercial use for the retail sale and dispensing of gasoline or other combustible motor vehicle fuels via outdoor dispensers, including repair or servicing of motor vehicles in combination with retail establishment. I think that retail establishment should be changed to an associated retail establishment, commonly known as a convenience store. And
So one.
there's a surprising amount of.
He was suggesting that the definition be changed to the associated retail establishment.
So do you,
Commonly known
did
as
you
a
get that?
convenience store.
So instead of with a retail establishment, that's really not what was intended. It was intended to be a retail, a convenience store. So it should be an associated, unless you have different language, retail establishment known as a convenience store. Commonly known. Okay. Let's see, going on, page 13.
Would you eliminate a convenience store from the?
No, because usually, for gas stations, what's associated with a gas station is a convenience store, not any other type of retail establishment. And believe me, there's a lot of case law that has come up under these interpretations. Page 13, golf course. It refers, the definition of golf course, component of a membership organization. There's no definition, that's an arcane reference to the used to be membership law, it was called, well, now it's not for profit. Law, there are no membership organizations under New York state law. I thought we would change component of a membership or, well, for a golf course. We have a definition of membership organization.
Yeah.
I don't see one. You know,
Yeah, because there are golf courses certainly which are not membership organizations.
yeah, golf course may be a component. I don't know that I like that language. A golf course, may have a membership, I think it should read, a golf course may have a membership organization as a component. That's a little clearer. So no one has any objection. Because we don't have a definition of membership level.
Okay.
Going on to the next page. Hotel, definition of hotel, was that intended to include motels? But I didn't see any reference to motels.
We got rid of the word motel.
I think we got rid of it.
Are we not permitting motels?
Apparently they're obsolete. I mean, that,
Not that, actually.
Yeah.
well,
No, I
from
think-
scratch, brand new.
People are not building motels.
No, I think they are, they may be calling them motels.
So. But we don't, I mean, was it intended that we were gonna permit? Hotels and motels, or we're not permitting motels? We're only
The
referencing.
key was the internal access. Interior. As opposed to, having your car in front of your work. Right, that was,
Well, it says that a commercial use provided for a fee. Short term less than 30 consecutive days, transient lodging accommodations. Parentheses, housekeeping service, furnishing and upkeep. The furniture, bed and bath, linen supply, telephone, television, internet. Be similar. And parentheses, to the general public where access to all guest rooms is from interior lobbies, courts or hallways. May include incidental accessory facilities and services such as restaurants, meeting rooms. Sundry retail goods, recreation facilities primarily serving the transfer of guests. But. So are we not permitting, the question is, was it the intent not to permit any motels?
Something to the.
Because they're a different animal.
You know,
the intent,
was to not permit motels,
Okay, then that's what.
but,
yeah,
but Mary's definition.
my committee agrees that was.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, so we're doing that. Yeah, let me just make a note of it. And do we want to include? Did you mention conference in the facility?
it's,
Is it there?
yes.
Okay.
Restaurants, meeting rooms, not conference,
Meeting room.
meeting rooms.
Okay, I think that's all. We're not permitting junkyards. That's out, but we do have a definition of junkyard.
Right, well, we have, but we're not permitting any new ones.
Yeah,
We went back and defined every.
yeah. Maybe, I'm wondering if we should make a note, because that sometimes confuses people when they see that a use is prohibited, but they see it's defined. We may want to have an asterisk next to those uses that we define, but are not permitted.
Exceed prohibited table.
Yeah, so
Number,
people,
whatever.
people have gotten confused over that, you know, they say, well, why do you have it in the definition if it's a prohibited use? And I think we have 4 or 5 categories of prohibited use.
Yes.
If we define them, I think it would be a good idea to put an asterisk or a notation in point. This is a prohibited use of.
Yeah, that.
Full junkyards.
Right, they said.
They get no,
You're gonna take care of it, right?
Yes, I am. I want control.
Thank you. I just want to make notes for myself. Okay. I have to tell you, I was totally confused by the lighting, but I'm assuming that made sense to the board.
keep going.
Very complex beyond my skill set, but it looked fine.
Works in Southampton.
Hmm?
It works in Southampton.
Oh, good, this is from Southampton, oh, it's good for Southampton, good stuff, yeah. And then we have, on page 18, non-conforming lighting. And that would be lighting which does not meet the requirements and specifications contained in this, chapter. Was that intended to cover legally installed lighting prior to these code provisions? As non-conforming,
You're saying it's on page 18?
my page 18.
Oh, right. I think so.
So I think that we might want to indicate lighting, which was legally installed prior to the enactment of this code provision. And that would constitute a non-conforming lighting. So that they're legal because they were established prior to zoning, but they're not legal since 12 months. I'm just skipping pages where I had no comments. On page, well, we do have a membership organization. Let's see,
Oh,
on page 21.
excuse me, Warren, Bill is a good point, nuisance lighting. should not be very much. And that's
Where
just
is that?
below, it's just below, on page 18. Yeah, it's two below none. Or one below, immediately. What should it be? No, nuisance lighting.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be non-conforming, that's just lighting that causes potential hazard to the public, I'm not sure.
Was the intent of choosing non-conforming to grandfather to existing non-conforming? Because you don't want to grandfather in a nuisance law.
If it was legally installed prior to.
Well, theoretically, you could have legally installed lighting which creates a nuisance.
Yes.
And then the question would be, does that have protection as a non-conforming use? You can regulate non-conforming uses if they cause a nuisance. So even though a facility is a non-conforming use under the zoning law, if that non-conforming use creates a nuisance, the municipality has the ability to regulate that use. So,
May I reach out to Will to work on
yeah, maybe we should put something to the effect that
those?
non-conforming uses nuisance lighting. Well, we have to put something in the code to define what is nuisance. What,
Yeah.
how we're gonna deal with it.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head how we can.
I think it probably there's a different idea in each of our minds as to what constitutes nuisance.
I mean, do we have a lot of nuisance lighting around that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But is there also a way under nuisance lighting to say that it is not, it's not based on whether it is conforming or non-conforming?
Well,
Because it's just a condition.
yeah,
Right?
maybe
Just like light pollution is a condition versus.
maybe we can say something to the effect that nuisance lighting, regardless of when it was installed, shall not necessarily be protected as a non-conforming.
No, I'll take a look at page 83.
Just there is a definition. And there's, it is explained. It's explained more in the body, but past the definitions.
I mean, if you really want to amortize out nuisance lighting, you have to have a whole subject on them. But I think it might be good to just put people on notice that there's some protection that we may want to do something later on. All the other definitions, let's see. So mobile, going back to mobile food vendor, on page 21. Are we intended, is it intended that this is going to regulate somebody in a food truck who parks on the street for a certain period of time and sells hot dogs or empanadas or things like that? Because we don't have that. We don't have regulations controlling that in this.
There's a permit.
Yeah, my
I think there's a
My
permit.
recollection is that the town requires a permit. I don't know whether that's in the code.
How do we require a permit under those things?
The village, I don't think the towns, did they? Well, we should. I tell you that the town zoning regulations apply to the right way, state roads. We can't just park the food
Right.
truck if it's a violation of the zoning.
In order to, what we, I don't remember that section of the code, I should have cross-referenced it. But it does, there is a section of the code that refers to mobile food vendors, but when I read that, it didn't appear to apply to situations where you have food trucks that park on the street, which is becoming more and more.
In what way is is it not a mobile food vendor?
Yeah, but you have to regulate them. The regulations we have, I think, are for people who have them on their property in conjunction with an event or something like that. That's the way I recall it. But what we don't have is how do we regulate somebody who comes in and wants to park on Main Street for 3 hours a day and sell hot dogs. But we don't have that. And I'm just wondering if that's something we want to allow as regulated. We don't have that in the code, right?
Yeah, obviously, this pertains mostly to the village, we said this.
I don't see, I can see it happening some, somewhat.
No, I-
We haven't done time bullet, 199.22, revenues.
Yeah.
areas.
Where were they?
199 and 22,
Uh-huh.
that's right.
Oh, so people would just,
Because we pull off the side of it.
so in conjunction with an event, or they just
No,
park it?
it's just illegal.
Oh, what were they selling?
Hot dogs.
Oh,
They do it all along 22.
Yeah.
All the way down.
it's something we might want to consider. I mean, I have some regulations. That I've done, for other towns. Which actually regulates food vendors who want to park on the public street. Does the village have that in their?
Village does.
So maybe we should take a look at this village. And, we may want to consider incorporating that.
Right.
And that's worked out pretty well. There's no problem. The definition on page 22, municipal uses, town of Northeast facility. It shouldn't be limited to the town of Northeast, because municipal uses could be a state or federal uses. So I thought maybe changing that from municipal uses. And then instead of saying town of Northeast facilities. Town of Northeast, state or federal. Facilities.
Yep. You want to include the county?
Yeah, the
I
county.
think the county.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I should say. Therefore, the county, that you, that. The definition of non-conforming use on that same page. Says a use or activity that was lawful prior to the adoption. I would just tweak that and say that was a use or activity that was lawfully existed prior to the adoption of the prior to the adoption of this chapter. Okay, all right. Lawfully existed. Looking at the definition of office, medical, and or dental. And I see including urgent care facilities, but not including medical clinics. Do we define both of those? Urgent care facilities.
Medical clinic there is on page 20.
What do we get?
Medical clinic is on page 20.
Oh, we define that.
Yes.
Okay, so that's okay. What about urgent care facility?
But that would be under one of those.
Do we define it somewhere?
We're looking.
It's included in a definition.
Included in the definition?
In a definition, one of them that.
Oh, it is. Okay, as long as we have it there, I just want to make sure that was.
Yeah, we have it on urgent care, page 7, what's page 32?
Okay. That's good. Guess it's the medical clinic for people requiring urgent care.
Okay.
Page 24. Just outdoor recreation commercial. I would just add where it says a commercial use. Providing outdoor facilities for recreational activities for a fee with or without membership. Including any motorized vehicles. Activities or shooting activities, I would say, just add without membership requirements. Excluding any motorized vehicle, just add that word.
Warren, I'm not clear on what you're suggesting the change does.
Oh, that's to outdoor recreation commercial on page 24.
Right.
So it just says with or without membership. I just would add the word membership requirements.
Okay.
Or the word requirements. A lot of these are nitpicky, but. I'm embarrassed to say on open porch. Maybe I'd ask this before, what is it, porte cochere?
It's where you can drive up and have cover in front of a front door.
It's like our new town hall,
Oh,
Yes, our, the new town.
or like a bank
Oh,
or hotel.
That's where you can
is
drive.
that for parking?
No,
Or
for
for
letting
access? Okay,
Loading also.
okay.
Cover driver.
Yeah.
You don't have to give you a definition of that, you don't.
Yeah.
No, share.
All right, we all understand what we're talking about. My wife speaks French, but not me. Okay. We're okay. I just noted that this is just an aside on billboard signs, just make everybody aware that we can regulate billboards on town roads, but we do not have the ability to regulate billboards on the state highway. Just a fact.
Does that mean that we don't have the ability to regulate billboards that are on private land adjoining state highway?
No, that's different, as long as they're not in the state highway right away.
So, okay,
Yeah,
we're talking about right away.
yeah, but it's precluded from regulating billboards. But municipalities don't know that,
Right.
including Rhinebeck, we had a provision that we were gonna remove all the billboards. It turned out, we did remove all of them because they're on state.
Yeah.
It's prohibited.
Hmm?
It's our prohibited.
Oh, is that one that we don't allow anymore? Okay.
So should we also reference prohibited?
Well, all of them, I gather. Somehow
Anything
we
that's
come out of it
prohibited?
way.
Do we have any existing billboards?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
No, not a lot, I think it'll work.
There's some. All right. Okay, sure. I think I asked this before, why are we so, why are we prohibiting vape stores for health reasons, we don't think? Healthy.
I never understood it, but
I was one who proposed it, and, you know, because tobacco stores and vape stores are. They actively and negatively impact the health of the community and particularly young.
The question, I guess, that I have is that if we prohibit vape stores, does that mean that an existing convenience store is not allowed to sell anything that might be a vape product?
Well, unless it's a non-conforming use, unless they have been selling vape products.
In other words, are we getting into deciding what a convenience store can or cannot sell?
Well, then you get into a touchy area, because you're not supposed to regulate
It's
how businesses operate.
I'm sorry that you interrupted.
That's right.
It says C-vape store and tobacco specialty business, and then it says commercial use specializing in selling electronic cigarette products and rest of cigarettes.
Okay,
So if you're
It
just,
just means, yeah, it's an accessory.
right, it says vape store, then
Got it.
if it says convenience store.
And they only sell
vape
vape
store
here.
yeah, okay, thank you for clarifying.
Okay, that's helpful. Let's see. So question. Stupid question. On page 34, 180 -9, we have several, we have the zoning district. And it says reserved for future amendment, but we don't have any definitions under A5A.
Oh. Will was putting together the structure for the entire code. And just a lot of placeholders here.
Okay, so this is a plain one.
Yeah.
Okay. But
And that's why the tables in the back are filled with existing uses for areas of this code we have not. Actually gotten to review.
so does that mean that we're not gonna have in the current zoning version, the definitions? Or what is A5A district in a very low for R3A district below the.
They are in those definitions. We incorporated in the definitions,
Oh, okay. All
but
right,
we haven't assessed. You know, what we want in the any of the residential.
oh, I see,
This is just a massive framework
okay.
to make part two easier.
Right, just to clarify for everybody, I know everybody knows this, but basically what the ZRC, zoning review committee and the board has done up till now is to focus on the commercial districts of the town. There are some things that we have talked about which do pertain to the residential districts, but part two of which will unfold at some point in the future would be to address the rest of the town, which of course is 98% of the town,
The land.
the land and residential and agricultural, so.
I just have a question. So in that case, Edie, do we just put our current zoning in those spots?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay,
yes, yes.
yeah, because I don't want to be left without it then.
Oh, no.
Okay,
But there were things we ended up having.
wasn't this deal with the zoning map, and now I understand it. I was looking at this map. But I see we have a large scale copy of this one. That's really the zoning, this is just closer detail. Yeah.
Can I bring up something from page 35 under Iron Gap?
Sure.
We were, in one of our meetings, we had notated that we were gonna take out. The second line saying about non-duplicative or change that wording, of the village. Non-duplicative. Sorry, yeah, of, traditional retail, professional office and personal services uses of the village. Or BD West, we were gonna change that to, there was another word one for that, but there was another one.
Another word?
Warren has suggested using a different word as opposed to duplicative. Because
What
we
I,
do have businesses that duplicate each other. Like in Irondale, it's a very small area, but we have a Napa store, and in the village, we also have an auto parts store, so it's sort of. Not really relevant.
so how are we gonna change that?
Well, I just don't even see why it has to say duplicative or not, I mean. They're just businesses, right? And then we say.
So
what
just
the-
stop it at the commercial uses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how we can control on the free market if something, if someone wants to open a second or third.
Why don't you say that the complimentary too?
What, was that what the wording was? Complimentary too?
Right.
Oh, it could have been, yeah. Because we're not in control if someone wants to open up a second.
Or a third.
Or a third of the
Auto
same.
parts store.
Right. So to me, I think that's restrictive and saying that.
So would you send me the language that you have?
Okay, I think it's more like taking, scratching it out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I just need.
It's intended to
But
allow.
we are defining what's permitted, right, in the iron deal.
Yeah, but Chris brought up a good point, second line, if you just ended it to allow a range of non-pedestrian oriented commercial uses, period.
Here, yeah, that's,
And that, then take out the, about duplicating,
that's
Sounds good, that sounds good to me.
yeah,
is that okay with you?
we were gonna do it, so. We wanted to.
We agreed on that.
We just got it done.
You know, you described a BD four as a landlocked parcel. I'm not crazy about that, because landlocked has a certain negative connotation, and that
Does it have to have those words in front of it?
why don't we just say consists of a parcel with no road frontage on Route 44, rather than landlocked. There's a lot of, it may not be landlocked, because there may be a way that parcel can actually access.
There probably
Before
is.
I'm getting into a
Right.
technical issue,
Right,
you'd have to go back to when it was created. So, maybe, which consists of a,
So you
parcel located on the south side, having no direct.
Can we just
frontage.
note that it is located on the south side of.
Yeah, which consists of
no.
parcel located on the south side of
Frontage.
Crestwood. And don't make reference to land.
That's. Yeah,
Frontage on Watkins Street.
On page 3.
No, I know, but no direct frontage on.
I don't think we have to say that, it just that it consists of a parcel located on the south. What it is, it speaks for itself. I seem to remember some theory. in Zoning that you can never have a landlocked, completely landlocked parcel, if you go back. To when all these parcels were created, they may be the inherent right to a unit. Taxes and saying, there's a little trouble there.
you know, we'll stay out of trouble.
Okay. Okay, I had a comment, now I understand it, on page 36. On page 36, number 7. Instead of replace existing, should not be remove or repeal existing 180. And It says replace, and then it says replace again,
Oh, in the title.
yeah, in the title. So I guess it should be remove existing, that's it. Okay, on page 43, the Boulevard District 4. But so C 1B, we should change to, Boulevard District. Oh, my page 43.
Oh, 43.
Got it. So since we changed that other definition of municipal buildings, it should say buildings, uses and facilities. Municipal buildings, use and facilities. Well, how about we should say that though? Why don't we say buildings, uses and facilities operated, owned or operated by municipalities?
Instead of the town approvals.
Yeah, because we changed that before. Limit that municipal.
So, okay.
Okay. We make a lot of references to affordable housing, but the new term for that is workforce housing. I don't know whether we want to include affordable and workforce housing, or
Okay, we are doing it two things, one being affordable with a capital A, which is regulated. And then we're not saying specifically who it's with capital A, who it's for.
right,
And then we also have in our definitions, fair market rent. And that's a reference to, that is a published thing by the county of what is fair, and that is a general group event for anyone, right? So we could do, the A that we're saying is regulated versus what is affordable to anyone, or is it workforce housing? But we did not put in the word workforce housing. Because
yeah, a lot.
I know that it's
Yeah,
also AKA.
when we just did our affordable housing project for Rhinebeck, we changed everything to work. But that was intended specifically because of its location to appeal to the workforce.
Mhm.
So-
And also it's not as,
Yeah.
not as a hot, like, it doesn't get a buzzword, yeah. Yeah, you get
No, I
people
just,
more on board.
yeah, it's fine.
I'm all for it, but at the same time, could also be referenced as, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I think also known as,
Warren,
yeah, so.
if we do also known as workforce housing. Just
I
like
just
you
don't
want
wanna-
to,
Also,
eliminate
sometimes referred to as.
Yeah,
workforce
yeah,
housing,
yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
maybe
why
just
not?
so-
I mean, it's the change
Every
in
place
dollars.
we use it,
Excuse me?
every place we.
No,
use it.
maybe we could put it, do we have a definition of affordable housing?
He just says C, I think he says C a chapter. If I remember.
No, I don't think you have to do it in that case. But if we could find one place to put it, we might be able to just do it in
Right.
a definition
Definitions.
of affordable housing, so. And sometimes known as also known, so. She'll try to encourage us, places for our police, teachers,
Right.
fire people to live. I had a question about, on page 44. The provision where it says applicability subsection 3. The planning board in conjunction with a special permit and or site plan application properly located Boulevard West District, or Boulevard East District. Is hereby authorized pursuant to this chapter to evaluate and approve alternative performance modifications to applicable lot standards, which is fine. And then it says, and permit certain residential uses. Provided the planning board, determines such such provides for an improved site plan layout and land use configuration consistent with the above stated purpose. So when I read that, what we're doing is permitting the planning board to essentially grant use variance. Which
We're
is,
getting one of these.
which is not usually a problem to the planning. Was that discussed at all?
What page is that?
What you're doing is giving the planning board the right to allow additional uses. There's no problem with allowing them to vary the bulk regulation.
44.
But it's a little bit of a concern when you're vesting the planning board with the power to basically grant the use variance to allow uses, residential uses which are not permitted in the zone. Was that given some thought?
No, I mean, that sounds like something I think we need to pay attention to. And
Yeah, they need to
Yeah, I've got it right.
ask Will about that and tell him that I just raised that as a concern. Everybody's okay with it.
No, but I think that's something we should understand what we're doing when we have that. language.
Right, because normally planning boards do not have that power.
It's legislative. It's legislative.
Hmm.
It's a legislative power.
Well, it's a power that's vested in, the municipality or the heading. But not the planning. Let's see. Page 46 is just a line of thing, number 7 at the top. Draft copies of any needed or proposed easements or other legal instruments. I would add to that, required for the development. Just so they understand what they have to use. And then we've got subsection E for affordable housing, they put in the notation about the workforce, but we should address that as some of the.
Some of it.
It's good. Yeah, I had another note on page 48, going back to the power vested in the planning board. To approve additional residential uses not. I'm just concerned because it doesn't, we don't really have criteria for the planning board to follow. In making that determination. So if we are gonna. We have something which,
So which one? 48.
page 48, number 6 at the top, I had it noted here. It goes back to my other concern. About the planning board having the power to allow additional residential uses. The problem again with that is that. I didn't see any criteria for the planning board to exercise that discretion. And we're gonna do it.
We should want to look at what we want to do. It is that one.
Is it 14, number 6?
Otherwise, the planning board, this
Yeah.
is just
14.
arbitrary, we should stop.
I don't see it.
Sorry.
That's.
Yeah, that's
December sixth.
both.
Because of that.
In a prior session.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll have a little trouble.
yeah. I just added that at the end of that. So far, too. Page 50. Where it says open outside storage, are we talking about storage on open property? Is that what was intended by outdoor storage?
So my recollection is that this refers to things that are stored outside, but, you know, not necessarily on vacant land, but
Yeah.
outside of an existing, outside an existing buildings.
So are we, does this apply to dumpsters and similar types?
We talk a lot about where dumpsters need to be placed.
Where is that? Is it in?
Anybody remember where it is?
No, outside storage isn't simply dumpsters, it's
No.
actually a closed area where you might.
Yeah.
Store.
Yeah, well, I just raised that because it's become a hot button issue in other municipalities that I deal with. About the dumpsters in the hamlet sections in town. That are not enclosed. or fenced.
But Edie, I think what you were saying is that this is actually.
Well,
a dump, but-
dumpsters are.
Yeah,
But
later-
outdoor
further on.
storage. That's about dumpsters.
Well, outdoor storage, I have no problem,
It's-
it's part of business and they're gonna store it, that they're gonna go for site plan approval. But there's this whole issue about non-conforming dumpsters and temporary dumpsters. You know, we deal with, it's Pine Plains that we deal with.
Well, people have containers on the property forever, I thought you know that. Well, that was some of it.
The concern was that any kind of merchandise, whether it's actually just sitting out there and open there, you will see done by Tractor Supply. Or, like you say, if somebody has some tractor trailer storage, you know, that's sitting
Yeah.
out there in the yard. And storing merchandise. That it's not open to that, if you see the other commercial site.
Right. And dumpsters, can be a problem because there's temporary dumpsters and there are permanent dumpsters. There are dumpsters that are used in conjunction with construction activities and all of the permitted for a certain period of time, you don't have to impose that. A lot of facilities have permanent dumpsters as part of their business, and those should be enclosed. I don't know to what extent we cover them.
I don't see it in the search.
You know,
It should be on the site plan standards.
well, if they go through site plan, that's not, usually not a problem.
The idea of carving is that being defined by site plan as far as that does, you know, display or just the story of cars on the property. But it's not on the site plan, it's starting to speak all over the place.
Yeah, but it's not a problem if the project, the development has to go through site plan. Because then this, the location of the dumpster is located and then it has to be fueled. The problem is our pre-existing. I don't know if we have that problem. Maybe we don't.
But doesn't it always come, doesn't also come up later when someone owns a building? About dumpsters and containers and all this open storage way after they go through site plan?
Yeah, if they add it illegally, that's a violation of zoning. You can't go through site plan approval and then say, you know, a dumpster here, we want it enclosed by a fence. Or screening, and then all of a sudden have another dumpster that's not. So that would be a violation of the site plan.
So are you suggesting we put any verbiage referencing that?
I just wanted to make it, was wondering whether we have any problem in the town, but obviously, maybe we don't.
Well, it could happen. I mean, this is for the future
We
too.
might not have a problem today, but it could be,
We're gonna have it tomorrow.
you know, this is where. Yeah, to some degree, we're looking to you for your suggestion as to what.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm going to be doing some changes to the Pine Plains law in regard to dumpsters, which I'll have by next month. And we might want to consider inserting. So I'll give that to you. Odor, page 50. You have definition of it's odor, it says that offensively affects the sense of smell. I think that may be challenged as impermissibly vague. But,
Can we just leave it there for right?
I'm gonna leave it there, I'm just, leave it there. Someone may object, if we ever get into litigation over it, someone may say, well, how do you, it's unconstitutional to vague statement.
No, AI will solve it.
I don't want that.
AI will solve it.
We'll have the super.
Yeah, who wants that job, right?
Yeah, we got into that, the noise standards, what.
Not here.
People, a noise to one person is not a noise to another. Let's see. Yeah, we have general standards for any special permit use, and you list a whole bunch of them. This is on page 51. We've got them from A to K. And I'm just wondering, was the intent that no special permit use was to be granted unless the applicant satisfied each one of these criteria? Or are these objectives that we're trying to fulfill in approving a special use?
I think this section. Is what we're gonna approve.
Oh,
But there was a change, and he wanted all the changes put in, so we
Yeah.
brought in, and probably the changes that, changes that it's going to the planning board from them.
well, this says the following, it said, the way this is probably for the current book, 'cause
But that's what, yeah.
yeah, it says the following general objectives. So I'm asking us, because I've been in litigation over this, is the intent? I'm assuming that we understand that general objectives doesn't mean that nobody can be approved for special use permit unless you meet each of the criteria. But this is something that we aspire to in approval.
L is the catch-all that fixes that, as it says.
Which one? Let me see.
Next page.
L?
There's no,
I.
Oh,
there's no L.
You mean I?
Oh, I, J,
I'm looking at
okay.
the old one, if we got rid of L, because L used to say the planning board may, when reasonable, waive any pre-established requirement, blah, 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 in this article. If the planning board finds that any such requirement is found not to be requisite in the interest of public health, safety, etc.
where is that?
It's
That
not,
used to be there, but it seems to have gone
it
away.
disappeared.
I like that.
Yeah, that.
So L is
You want to
missing.
put that in as the L? Because you have, in K, they can impose additional requirements. So that would be a good idea to have that as L.
We did, put it back to.
Good luck.
I'm only sensitive to this because I've been involved
We
in
should do this, right?
cases where people say, well, you can't approve this because you haven't.
Each one of the- Yeah, great.
So you'll provide, do you have that language? Yeah, that would be great. Okay. Let's see. On page 53, at the top of section 5, it says, any other information deemed helpful, I just would add, any other information or documentation. Deemed helpful. And, yeah, you have, this is something that always bothers me, subparagraph B on page 53, it says, planning board shall within 62 calendar days of receipt of a complete application. Conduct a public hearing, and then, disputes arise as to what constitutes a complete application. Seeker requires that for an application to be complete, you have to either make a positive or a negative determination of the seeker until you get to that point. I'm just wondering whether we should have a definition of what a complete application is. I don't think we need to, it's just a concern, but
Yes.
yeah. See what the complete application. I think we can leave that. Subparagraph B2, it says by requiring the secretary of the planning board to provide notice of the public hearing to the owners of all property abutting that held by the applicant. We should add, which is subject to the special use permit. Because otherwise they could be abutting other properties.
Right, you might have an applicant with multiple properties, many of which are not being dealt with.
So where do I?
On subparagraph
Got it.
B2,
Okay.
it says held by the applicant, which is the subject of special use permit. Take your time.
Warren, I would suggest, and which is, I would insert the word and as well.
And which is, yeah.
Yeah, we added it in the.
Okay, on page 54. 180-28 consultant review and reimbursable costs. Just a couple of comments on there where it says. You may refer to a list other agencies that can refer the application. I would just, it says. Other local and county officials. It's designated private planning and engineering consultants. I'm sorry, where is it? Don't just come. I would just add, and other. I would add the attorney to the planning board. As a consultant. In addition to the engineering and planning. And, other. Did you say, and other experts, this is referrals, I would put, and other agencies. And experts as deemed necessary.
Agencies.
And expert, yep. Okay.
Because you may require a hydrologist.
Sure. Yeah. Or you may refer to another agency
Yeah.
that's not listed here. Yep. And then it refers to the escrow account in B, reimbursable costs. It says escrow account shall be established, and maintained. On the planning board's receipt, et cetera.
And retain or
Maintained, because you start an escrow account, then it has to be replenished.
replenished, exactly.
I don't know whether we need to mention this, but, all special use permits require site plan review. I don't know whether it's been a problem, but. You might want to add just
Well, but remember the special permits are now with the plan.
with the planning board. Yeah, so it used to be more difficult because you had to coordinate it, yeah.
Yes,
I mean, I don't know whether we need to do it now that it's all the planning
exactly,
board. that they be coordinated, especially,
Right.
and, yeah, I think
That's
that's
the whole point.
implied, yeah, you're right.
Do we wanna add or take out language?
No, I think you're fine,
Okay.
yeah, thanks. Fine. Expiration of special use permit on page 55, it says, special permit shall be deemed to authorize only the particular use or uses expressly specified in the permit and shall expire if the special use permit is not commenced and diligently pursued. I would add and completed within 1 calendar year. So it should be commenced, comma, diligently pursued and completed.
Your turn.
Well, no, but you allow for extension, so it's not a problem. But, you know, they just diligently pursue it for the next 2 years. You have here that the special use permit may be extended once. Sometimes you need, development projects need more than one extension. And there's been a lot of litigation over this, as to what the powers of planning boards are to provide for additional extensions. Do we want to indicate, and may be extended thereafter for a time period determined by the planning board for just cause? Because it often happens that you've got projects that just go, take
That sounds fair to me.
2-3 years. Um, Okay, page 57, 180-37 says including public infrastructure. We have a definition of what public infrastructure.
Which number are we
Yeah.
under?
180-37.
This is something that's always bothered me. Where the planning board can require for site plan and special use permit that bonding be in place for public infrastructure, but I never could understand what exactly is public infrastructure for private project. I know what it is for a public project, but I'm not sure what it is for private sidewalks.
I mean, I'm giving you an example that comes to mind,
You mean if you require that,
if we require. Which we do.
you do?
Yeah.
Why don't we add public infrastructures such as sidewalks?
Sounds good to me. Because it
Hey, you look
specific,
at sidewalks.
we are very much interested in making sure the sidewalks are part of this.
Or a specialty sidewalk? I'm just kidding. Um. You have, in B, no certificate of occupancy shall be issued until all public infrastructure improvements as shown on the site plan have been installed and approved as to sufficiency of installation and operation. Who approves that? Would that be the town engineer? Or within the town? The town engineer?
Can you repeat that one?
Yeah. No certificate of occupancy shall be issued until all required public infrastructure and improvements as shown on the site plan have been installed and approved as to sufficiency of installation and operation.
So that means that if somebody's building something and a sidewalk is required, the C of O cannot be issued until the sidewalk is finished and and certified to be
But
finished.
who does that though?
Yeah, the question is who does it?
Yeah, I would think, I would think the.
I would be to say the town engineer, I don't know,
That's best. Town engineer.
town
Yeah,
engineer.
I think that's. Will be beyond the capability, the building inspector.
Or later a CEO, right?
And then they would have to reimburse the town for that cost. On page 58. What I have over there, what did I do? You've got, hours that you're controlling the hours of the business operation. Just want you to be aware, I don't mind putting that in there. But there is case law in New York that you're not permitted to regulate the operation of a business as part of your site plan, and special use permit. Sometimes it's a gray area.
Yeah,
As to
I
what,
mean, I know there are some businesses where state law specifically does permit us to
Right.
regulate the hours, cannabis dispensaries, for instance.
liquor stores.
Liquor stores, yeah.
I would leave it in there, I just want you to be aware that that's an issue, because we have that in a few places. We don't want to. It's a very gray area, but you can't control the business operation. Business. Okay, just a note, on page 59 about public schools, just so the Department of Education approves the plans for public school construction, just so you're aware of that.
Should that be added?
I think that it might be a good idea to reference that, just a notation, because a lot of boards are not aware of that fact that we have some control, but minimum of what's constructed on school property, but mostly it's done by the Department of Education. I can get you the site for that if you want.
So I have something for, page 59 under outdoor dining, just a little point, number C. It says that, should have no more than 12 outdoor seats associated with the takeout restaurant. I don't see why we're saying 12. I mean, we could say up to 20 based on planning board, because like even Tallow just opened, they have 12, there's 3 tables of 4, so I just don't see why be that specific. Unless we want to set a limit, but I think it's based on the size of the establishment too, so.
Yeah, was there some magic number?
I don't know where that came from, but I think it's a little too long, personally.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe just based on planning board approval or site plan approval. It's number C.
yeah,
Seats.
seats, not tables,
No,
seats.
it's not there. Yeah, or if you said, maybe you could leave it at 12 and said, or more if planning board determines that it's necessary and sufficient or something.
Yeah, I think it would be good to have the flexibility to permit more and certain, yeah.
We do, because these are in the category of specifications which can be waived by the planning.
Right.
There is a section.
Right.
And then some paragraph F on outward lighting, something's missing. It says, shall be in accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And shall provide direct pedestrian access to and from the.
Yes. Okay. The entrance?
Facility?
Okay.
So we got a word in there.
Okay,
All right.
we'll find it.
Good citing that one.
And again, you've got other provisions with your regulating hours of operation. Could be touching. Let's see. Hotels. Yeah, you have accessory uses in G on page 61 to a hotel. And I'm only mentioning this because this is something I'm involved in and I've been involved in. What constitutes a normal accessory use to a hotel? So you've listed swimming pool. Accessories may include, not be limited to swimming pool, indoor swimming pools, fitness, exercise room. What about outdoor swimming pool? I'm an indoor and outdoor.
How about just pools, swimming pools?
Um. I'm just wondering if we should add. And permitting. Other normal and customary accessory uses associated with hotel operation. Cause you can't cover everything.
Right, you're not gonna cover everything, so, I mean, that sounds appropriate to me.
Yeah,
I think this is where we get, when we try to. When we, so when we try to define every possible situation in which something could take place. We, we're gonna leave something out, or
you always,
we're
let
gonna
me
end
just
up
tell you, when you do these zoning laws. Right, every time. You have an issue or a problem, you think of something else that you didn't mention that you have to add, so it's not uncommon. Go through this whole process and then amend it periodically. Just,
Make it stand, but not limited to.
not live it. Yeah, you can just say, yeah, well, it says, but not, I would leave that, just,
But
I
you wanna
think that's-
add.
I think it's implied that it would be. The normal customary accessory uses.
So leave it or add this.
I would just leave it. I'm only sensitive to that because I'm dealing with problems
Oh, yeah, no, that, I guess.
about this issue. And then we discussed we're not allowing motels. And you have a provision on outdoor parking spaces. You don't have to change it, they just want you to know that the courts have held that. Variances from parking spaces requirements are considered area variances, not use variance. So they're not hard to get, they're not hard to, case laws, so they're not hard to get, but you don't have to. Just, they're impressing you with all the knowledge.
Yes, what.
I have a lot of war stories. That's okay. So paragraph 9, the caption, it says accessible, should be AD, handicap accessible or ADA. I'm sorry, page 63. In the title, which it should say ADA accessible or handicap accessible. Number 9.
Can I ask a question about the page before? 62. We have queue spaces for cars. We list car wash, but we don't have car wash anywhere else in all the zoning. Is that necessary, or should we just take it out?
Which page is this?
62,
62, we have a minimum queuing for car washing.
yeah, I mean, it's just a small point, but
Do we have any car washing?
we don't, and it's nowhere in the, I didn't see it anywhere in the zoning.
people think we do, but it's actually Connecticut.
Oh,
It's north of,
Yeah, that's true, it's.
or sorry, east of us.
must be a very swishy car wash.
It's
It's
yeah, exactly.
Did you want to take that out?
I just don't know why we need it, so.
Yeah.
There's a provision on page 68, subsection 6 at the top.
Which one?
Maintenance of off-street parking and loading facilities. And it says no commercial motor vehicle or more than 1 ton capacity shall be parked or stored overnight on the street in any residential district. I'm just wondering if we should have that as part of our parking regulations.
Lauren, what page was that?
This is getting into residential now.
You know,
No, this is.
68.
68.
Oh, and
on page 68, the maintenance of off-street parking and loading facilities required. And it says no commercial motor vehicle more than 1 ton capacity shall be parked or stored overnight. I mean, this is really a traffic regulation.
take it out.
We might want to take it out and put it in our traffic regulation.
Which number is that?
6.
6.
Okay.
But if that's important, you can leave it in and we can also put it in our traffic regulation.
Well, isn't under just regulations versus zoning?
We have, you know, in our code, traffic regulation.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and you can't enforce traffic unless you have it in the code. So, this really should, if this is something we're concerned about on that part, then we should be in the code. So we may want to shift it to the code. I can take a look at that.
But we're taking it out of here.
Let's take it out.
Warren, I'd like to hold up for a second. We've talked about going till 6 o'clock.
Oh.
It's 5 minutes before 6. And
I still have
I can see that that pile has gotten smaller, but it's not. small enough.
bigger. Yeah.
You know, we're obviously not.
I can finish this on the 11th if you like.
We
In a few minutes.
will have some, yeah, we have time on the 11th to continue this. But I don't want to go on past what we talked to people about.
No, I don't mind getting home. Yeah, some of these are nitpicky, but you know, it's just helpful, I think, to go through. So,
Yeah,
why don't we? Is that all right?
It's fine, right?
yeah, I don't know, I just want to say if there was a appropriate stopping point here.
Yeah.
And I guess that any, you can pick any point you want, and it's an appropriate stopping point.
Well, you're picking up some minutia, possibly
A
you
lot of
and I can.
Yeah, well, I'm just going through my notes, yeah, a lot of the,
I think it would be good maybe if we had the opportunity to go through them with you, not with the whole board. Because a lot of them are small,
Yeah, there's good
and
corrections.
there's some other ones which are bigger, which I think do need to come.
Oh, absolutely.
you know.
Come back to the board.
Well, why don't I can go through what I have remaining. And segregate the ones that are just minor and then maybe get those to you. I'm not gonna have a lot of time, because I'm gonna be away next week. And then we can discuss the important ones at the meeting next week.
I think that's a great idea.
Is that good? Okay.
Is it possible for those comments to be distributed beyond the limited slice of people in the region?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, a lot of these comments are not hugely
Yeah.
significant, but they're just my comments.
I mean, yeah, they vary widely in terms of their significance.
Well, they make for a better. product.
But I think we're trying to make this as good as we can make it, and it's time consuming to do it, but we're getting a lot of input, and we've had a lot of input up till now. So,
And then, you know, you're gonna go through a public hearing process, so
We'll
yeah.
catch even more.
you're gonna get people coming to public hearings. Yeah, well, things too. I'll try to call these so that we get.
we've got a couple of minutes left. Is there any public comment on anything that we have talked about so far today? Ed?
Yeah, just three brief comments. I would encourage you to continue to use the term affordability, affordable housing as opposed to workforce. Because in our community, the needs are broadly spread across a lot of different sectors. It's not just people who are in the workplace, but there are people who are retired, who are really having difficulty making ends meet. There are also people who may have disabilities and may not be able to work fully. So I think we should try to retain that term because we haven't brought part of the community that we're trying to serve. The second thing was there was a comment made about, there was a general purpose section relating to the Irondale business. And I just relating to what, to the Irondale business district model. And I wanted to just comment on it, because I think this is an important distinction. Those general purpose clauses were put in there intentionally to broadly discuss what the goal was of the legislation, the particulars of which would come later. And the reason for that was the recognition that people who are going to be interpreting and implementing this law may be 10 years from now. They may not have been involved in these committees. They may not have been in town board. That is all new to them. So it was an attempt to try and frame what was being achieved by this particular section. So I would encourage you to not strike language easily from it, because it's not a particular use that's being discussed. It's the concept of how to interpret and implement the regulations that come there. The third point is, if my recollection is correct, this year marks the 40th year that Warren Plansky has advised the town in some capacity. Much of which related to the land use, but other areas as well as I listened to his comments and that I reflected on how I think fortunate we are to have had that. Because what his comments demonstrated to a significant understanding of this community is important for anybody who's being advised to have. And the second is his experience as an attorney, particularly in this field, we're very fortunate to have.
Thank you, that's very nice. Didn't realize it was so many years. Feeling old.
Okay, anyone else?
We'll start with the mouse.
So this is really more in the line of legal clarification questions. I hope you'll indulge me because we have Lauren here for the first year. So it says, there's language in here that talks about an electronic message display sign, which is permitted in, for municipal uses. And then if you look at the definition of municipal uses, it says, that it's property that is owned, leased, or I think under the control of the town. And so how would it work out where a sign that wasn't owned by the town, but that was under the control of the town, could be in play? In other words, could the town take control of an existing sign with an agreement with the sign owner and say, now we control that sign and now it's going to go?
Good, yeah, I mean, you were asking is whether a municipal purpose could be not for use that's in the control of the town by lease or other agreement to, yeah.
And then could the town have an arrangement where then they cede control of the content that's displayed on that sign back to the sign owner? Or it would be solely under the
Yeah, so it would have to be so, because we're only making the exception for the municipality. So that would have to be clearly understood.
I'd like to point out that we haven't gotten to this section yet. And I was inviting comments on what we've done so far tonight.
Oh, okay.
So that lies in the future.
I will not make that question in the future. Thank you.
Good question.
No, I'm still trying to follow that thread, but I will.
I think
Any others? Yeah.
So stick with just the topic that you're discussing today. You don't want motels, hotels are okay, but cottages, cabins. Individual units that are entered directly from the outside. Seem to be overlooked in your definitions.
because we're talking about specific areas.
Well, that somebody wanted to come up with a hotel with some private cabins in the back, we would say that's an unallowed use.
Well, that's what's in that.
In the boulevard district, yeah.
Yeah, there would have to be some flexibility. I mean, you can't, anticipate every type of proposal that's gonna come in. So that you have to vest the planning board, and the zoning board with some flexibility in dealing with some of these applications. You know, an example would be, what is glamping? Is that considered a campground? Now, you know, that's not a big issue. A lot of communities are torturing over whether to prohibit glamping where they allow campgrounds and trailer parks, you know. Just have to have some degree of flexibility.
It would seem to me that the commercial district would have the more permissive uses. And a similar smelling thing in a residential district would have some sort of subset of those, but not be, have more liberal uses around them. So, when I look at the new proposed code, and I see restrictions on, you know, no motels, or outdoor dining has to be shut down by 10 o'clock and can't have amplified sound. Seems weird that we're considering doing that in residential areas, so allowing those things that you can't do in commercial areas.
Yeah, there should be more flexibility in commercial areas, but some of that is built into the code. Where you can override, the planning board has the ability to override those provisions. I think there's an existing provision in our code about it. So, you know, that shouldn't be a problem, but you don't wanna make, it's hard to make these things work for every conceivable use, and then you spend 2 years doing this, and then somebody comes with an application, oh, we didn't think about that. These are evolving, you know, they're amended over a period of time and changing. But the important thing is to allow some flexibility. I mean, I think it's a great idea to provide the planning and the zoning in one board that was always.
Yeah, you need special permits.
Special permit.
Yes. I know what you meant.
That's a big improvement. That will really help things. But you'll find that there's built into the code some degree of flexibility, so it's you know, the boards have some discretion in certain areas to waive things.
This is part of the challenge of municipal government, is when we're wanting to have a certain degree of flexibility. At the same time, we're also wanting to have a certain, want to feel that we have provided guidance and definitions. And we're trying to do both.
It's not
Anyway.
always easy.
If there's any other public comment, otherwise I would, we will continue this, as we've discussed.
When is the meeting? The 11th?
The 11th. And
Yeah, I think it will come a little early. I think I'm coming back from vacation. Oh, no, it's, yeah, I mean, think about it, if you want me to come at 6:30 or something like that.
let's see what we can,
Yeah.
and if there's a way that we can have.
And also
distill down the things that you're working on so that we're focusing on the ones where the input of the board is, yeah, particularly useful. That'd be great.
Okay.
With that, I would ask if there was a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And I did want to mention that I think they've done a terrific job. The committee, you know, in case, I don't want you to think the criticism of the.
Oh, no, it's just making a better product.
Yeah.
Who seconded that? Who seconded, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's carried, you're adjourned. Thank you all for being here, for your patience.
Yeah, I, you know, I just.
Yeah.
This is like taking over my life. Yeah, you still have a long way to go. That's the thing.